What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news right here on our YouTube page, A-Plus Hero Report, along with us going live on our Facebook page, A-Plus Opinions, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for everybody certainly joining us. Doesn't matter what type of meeting you're certainly joining us from. We always appreciate it every Sunday to go ahead and keep you guys up to date as to what's going on in our nerd pop culture world out there. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining us. And I hope your weekend has certainly gone well. And of course, listen, it's not just myself today. We have a packed crew. The nerds of the round table have reunited once again. We've got not only Stuart here joining us, but also Indy Uchiha. What's going on, fellas? How's everybody doing today?
Top of the morning to you.
I love your hat, man. Is that a DBZ?
Yep.
Nice. Loving it.
DBZ stuff. I got my Trunks sweatshirt going on, and then even underneath it, I got another Dragon Ball Z shirt going on.
Man, you guys are rocking the DBZ.
We all collab. I see Vegeta on your shirt.
Hey man, this is it's a nerd mix time, my friend. It's a nerd mix time. Hashtag nerd mix. I felt like wearing my wearing the shirt today. It'd been a minute, so I was like, you know what, let's rep some love for hashtag nerd mix today. But guys, I really appreciate having all of you. We have a stacked, and I mean a stacked episode today. I feel like there's a ton of like shifting going on with all this news in the world of movies and television and things like that. It's for a lot of big development. So we're definitely going to be talking about it here today, guys. So we'll try not to run too long, but certainly bear with us if we get down into the nitty gritty with a couple of these topics today. But remember, guys, at the end of the day, these are just our A-plus opinions. We certainly always want to know yours. So feel free to go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chats or the comment section as we're after we go with our live stream. But if you do have a live viewer question that you certainly want to have answered on the show, making sure that we don't skip over any of your comments, feel free to go ahead and submit your questions over to us at aplusopinions@gmail.com. I don't know why I put an extra L there. It's not aplusopinionsl@gmail. I promise it's aplusopinions@gmail.com. Feel free to submit your questions over, and we'll definitely go ahead and tackle those towards the end of the show. Other than that, what other news that we've got? Oh, that's right, guys. We actually just launched a Patreon. So if you guys want to go ahead and support the show in any particular way, we would certainly appreciate it. Go to patreon.com/aplusopinions. We've got 3 different tiers that you certainly can go ahead and check out. We've got some great exclusive content for you guys, along with some early access to some content, not only on the A-plus More Phenomenal side, but also the A-plus Hero Report side as well, guys. So listen, we're always here trying to grow our production value and grow as a channel. We want to bring other people in. I want to be able to start paying some of these fellas, from time to time. So feel free to go ahead and show your support. We definitely have big plans for just A-plus opinions as a whole. And we definitely want to go ahead and continue to get there with your help, from production value to anything you can think of, exclusive content, guys. We're always here for you. So before we get into the topic, fellas, let me ask you a question though. Since we can't get everything into this episode that we certainly want to talk about, are there any honorable mentions that wind up popping up this week, or something that you saw that grabbed your attention that you wanted to go ahead and highlight real quick?
I'm going to let Indy go first on this one.
Yeah, because what you got is a groundbreaking announcement. The one you got. With me, nothing that really has to do with, I guess it could do with do with pop culture. Just randomly watching some AEW wrestling, you know what I'm saying, the other night. And to my surprise, I saw Steve Borden, the man Sting, return to TNT Wrestling for like the first time in 15 something years.
Whoa, Sting, but how old is Sting, bro?
Like 62. I have, but it was still a oh my god moment. They had the whole winter is coming thing, felt real like Game of Thrones-ish. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
That is pretty cool, man. I mean, even at 60, as long as you got a cool entrance and you build up the hype, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Well, you guys talk about how big Stuart's announcement or honorable mention is. I feel like I should go next real quick, just because of the fact that I feel like he's about to one up all of us or something like that. Well, quick couple things here for you Star Wars fans. According to Diego Luna, Cassian Andor's TV series is currently in production, so that's fantastic. I feel like they've been really hush-hush in regards to the Rogue One prequel series that they're doing. I had no idea they even planned on starting filming, but apparently they've been filming under our nose. I don't know how long, but it's good to see that that's actually in active development. Is that even a series that you guys are interested in at all?
If it wasn't for the Mandalorian being like amazing, probably not, just because he was kind of my least favorite character from that film, just had like the least amount of personality essentially. But I don't know. I feel like with the Mandalorian, I kind of came up to the realization that Star Wars just works so much better now as a television show.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could work really well. Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see though.
It's almost like there's just untapped potential in TV when it comes to Star Wars. So now that we're getting it in live action form, we're like, this is the best thing ever. Trust me, I could still handle this Star Wars on the big screen for sure. There's nothing like it. But to see Star Wars actually tap into TV has been pretty incredible to see what they've been able to do. So hopefully that momentum continues. And last but not least, for those of you interested in the Willow movie, because we have mentioned it on the show a couple times, Willow has in fact actually cast a couple of new members to the squad also. So it's in full development, guys. And I believe one of the actors is actually from the Solo movie, if I'm not mistaken. The lady that played the mysterious sort of, I don't want to say bounty hunter, but I can't remember her name off the top of my head, that was hunting, Solo and things like that, giving him problems all episode, all movie long type of thing. So I know she's been cast in the Willow movie. So it's full steams ahead for the series, it looks like.
Awesome. Wait, the one from Game of Thrones?
No, let me see if I can pull up, because this is actually from deadline.com. Let me see if I can, I think it's Ellie Bamber, perhaps. Oh no, I'm sorry, Erin Kellyman. She played in Solo, but she's in negotiations with a couple other actresses for 3 female leads in the Willow Disney Plus series. So yeah, I can't remember the name of her character, but the actress name is Erin Kellyman. But check her out. She was the one with like the curly red hair. Remember at the end when they get to their destination, and this is the bounty hunter that's been causing them problems, just messing up their heists and stuff. And she takes off the helmet, and it's a female underneath. You have no idea. You had no idea the entire movie. I cannot remember the character's name.
The one that they were like her. Thinking was just a marauder and that kind of thing.
Yes,
got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. With the really cool helmet and stuff. I was. She's going to be in the Willow Disney Plus series. So I thought that was pretty cool that the series is really pushing forward now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Stuart. What is your honorable mention, sir?
All right. So I was up really late last night because I just for some reason could not fall asleep at all. So I was just like doing something I don't usually do. I was on Instagram following people's, the stories type things.
Oh, I thought you were going to say masturbating, but okay.
Oh, well, that's it. No, I'm kidding. Or am I? But anyways, yeah. So no, like, I usually don't like go through the stories that people post because it just like, I don't know. For me, it feels like more like a chore than anything else. So my thought was, hey, if I go through people's stories, maybe it'll eventually like tire me out and I'll fall asleep. So I'm doing that. And I eventually come across Brandon Mejia's thing, and he's calling out the Dino Fury cast. And essentially the Dino Fury cast responded. So Dino Fury versus Dino Charge officially happening unofficially in a game of Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. So they are, I think it's going to be Brandon Mejia, Yoshi,
and Peter. I think it's his brother too.
I want to say the other guys that were just like in the crossover recently.
Well, I want to say it's Yoshi, Brennan, and his brother Peter.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was Peter as well. Okay. But yeah, either way, just it's going to be them against the cast of Dino Fury in Smash Brothers Ultimate. And I think that's like really awesome. Like, yeah, 2 completely different casts of characters, but yet like the actors seem to already be like getting to know each other despite there not being any like known to us anyways, any known crossovers between them with the show. So I don't know. I think that's really cool. And I'm hoping they stream it on Twitch and that we all get to see it. That just sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, I think Yoshi has a Twitch channel, so if anything, I'll probably If anything, I feel like he's got a Twitch channel, Yoshi. So if anything, I would think maybe they would stream it over there. But yeah, I actually remember AJ sending me a couple of the videos yesterday of them sending out challenges. And poor Russell Curry, the Red Ranger, mind you, of Dino Fury, felt left out, had to make his own video like, yo, you're not even going to bring me in on this challenge. So I think he inserted himself to say the least. But it should be fun. Maybe this is the lead up to what causes the Dino Charge and Dino Fury crossover event. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like, yeah, Hasbro's probably going to see this on social media.
This is an opportunity.
Hey, fans really like your guys' chemistry. Let's bring them back on board. People liked them last season. Let's do it again.
And thank you for doing that, Andy. He did clarify. Yeah, Peter said on his story he's going to be watching, not participating. So okay. It's a little bit of a bummer. I would love to have seen the brothers help in there. But yeah, I think it's like Chance, Perez, Kai, and Tessa from Dino Fury. So it should be fun, man. It should be fun. That's a great honorable mention, bro.
Russell Curry will be part of it as well because Brandon Mejia did correct himself and tagged him when Russell Curry made the video. So he will be a part of it as well.
Nice.
Let's see. We got the character's name you guys were looking for.
Enfys Nest, yes. Thank you, Gabriel. Enfys Nest. Speaking of people coming through with answers, let me go ahead and give some quick shout outs to people that are in the chat with us today. Power Rangers in your area, what's going on today? CMC official. Every time I see that, I think of Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if that's what that stands for. That's what I think of. What's up, CFC? We got Isaiah Rodriguez in the house. Great icon, by the way, my friend. What's up? Good looking. Thank you for certainly coming through and for the compliment. We got Shadow Nova certainly in the house as well. Gabriel coming through, and of course, Mr. Corey Seaver. What's going on, Corey? Appreciate you.
Hey, Corey, what's up?
Yeah, man. He says I come here to find nerdiness far, far beyond my own. Good gods. That's right, man. This is the place for your nerd pop culture. We keep you up to date so you don't have to feel as nerdy as we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we do here. But guys, are you guys ready to get into our main topics today?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Let's go.
All right, awesome. So guys, listen, I feel like over the past couple of weeks, Disney has put us on a schedule as to when they're going to start releasing some of their Marvel Disney Plus television news. A couple of weeks back, we wind up getting some information in regards to Moon Knight, as Oscar Isaac was in fact cast. Well, now 2 weeks later, ladies and gentlemen, Hawkeye has officially begun filming, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And not only has Hawkeye began its filming process, but we finally have confirmation as to who's playing Kate Bishop. And that is, in fact, none other than Hailee Steinfeld. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and see if we can pull up this article here. This actually comes to us from just want to make sure I got this correct article here. This one comes to us from comicbookmovie.com. Not really a site that I use very often, but every once in a while, they definitely hit on the money. But it says Hailee Steinfeld finally confirmed as Kate Bishop thanks to new set videos. So it does say here, it says Hawkeye is currently shooting in Brooklyn. And thanks to Murphy's Multiverse, we have a first look at Clint Barton, Kate Bishop, and Lucky the Pizza Dog. The trio are making their way to on the subway, and that's pretty much all this video currently reveals. It is fitting that Lucky is accompanying those two on whatever journey they're heading on, and it's about time we get to spend some time with a real life cute animal in the MCU. Hey, don't forget about the cat from Captain Marvel. So we do have ourselves some Kate Bishop in the subway set, doing some video, doing some filming for Hawkeye. So we finally had that. And I know some people are going to say, well, didn't she confirm this a while back? Well, I know that there definitely was speculation. Some sources, I believe we reported back in December of last year about this. But if I recall correctly, I believe it was Hailee Steinfeld who came out, shortly after that, sort of denying the rumors that she was in fact Kate Bishop. So Kate Bishop, excuse me. So to see her on set here, actually playing the role, great confirmation, honestly, if you ask me. So let me go ahead and pull up some of the set photos as well, if you guys want to go ahead and check out what they have for us. But yeah, we get to see Jeremy Renner along with Hailee Steinfeld right here. Looks like this is all Subway stuff, along with her and Lucky the pizza dog. But guys, you see some of these set photos here. Let me shoot this over to you first, Indy. You see development here for Hawkeye taking place. What are your thoughts on the movement of the series? And Hailee Bishop. Goodness, Adam. Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. I cannot get my words together today. I'm sorry.
Honestly, who asked for a Hawkeye show? But all jokes aside, man, to me, she's an incredible actress. Bumblebee, because of her, honestly, she was the first human person I liked in a Transformers movie. Everybody else was annoying. Her and Tyrese. Tyrese were the only two that I liked in, you know what I'm saying, the Transformers movie. So the baggy, I'm not feeling the baggy clothes. I'm looking for something not to like. Like the baggy clothes a little bit too much for me. Maybe she's hiding a bow. I'm pretty interested in what this will actually lead up to. That's what I want to know. How does this incorporate itself into the MCU? Where do we go here from there? Do we get the Young Avengers? Is this the first step to the Young Avengers? So that's where it piques my interest, is seeing where it goes from there. And actually one of the things that I'm looking forward to, if this is post Endgame, I want to see how Clint is dealing with the loss of Natasha.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where it takes place at. I don't believe that they've mentioned that yet, as far as details on the series go. But just looking at like Jeremy Renner's hair, it looks like it's maybe grown a little bit out since his Endgame days. So maybe it takes place afterwards. What do you think, Stuart? If you had to guess as to where this takes place, what are some of your thoughts, and how do you like some of the set photos that you're seeing as Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop?
Loving the set photos so far. No idea where it's taken place. Although I'm assuming because like the sign wasn't in English, I'm assuming probably China or Japan or something like that is where they meet up. But yeah,
maybe
like
I think it might be in Chinatown.
That's in Chinatown. Oh, okay. Yeah,
it might be. I'm just assuming.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of with Indy on pretty much every point that he made about the whole thing, except for the fact of who asked for a Hawkeye TV series. Personally, I actually think it's an awesome idea to use him in his own series. But yeah, I'm very intrigued, not only with the show itself, but like where it's going to lead to, how big her role is going to be in the overall like MCU after this. And yeah, I do highly believe that we're going to see her in like an upcoming Young Avengers type of film sometime in the future. What also kind of piques my interest is her bow that she's actually using, because yeah, it's going to kind of it'll be kind of a cool way to show off her skill, because she doesn't have the high-tech bow and arrow that like Hawkeye uses all the time. It's just a regular bow and arrow, so it's going to be like interesting to see if like she is able to either one up him with just a regular bow and arrow, or if she's like on par with him with it, and that's kind of like the way they kind of show off her skill.
I am wondering if that is if that's actually her bow, if that's somebody else's bow that they're holding on to, or maybe that they found or had to grab and run off with, or whatever the case may be. So I am kind of curious to find out a little bit more about it. But yeah, I love the set photos. It's great to see them together. I think Hailee Steinfeld is just incredible when it comes to her performances. Absolutely loved her in Bumblebee also. So she's top-notch talent as it comes, man. Definitely one of those up-and-coming actresses that I think as she just gets older and gets more roles, she's just going to get better and better. So I think this is a great stash by Marvel to go ahead and bring somebody like Hailee Steinfeld into the fold, because now not only do you get to use her for Hawkeye, but you can use her at any time that you need into the movies, if it comes to that for a potential Young Avengers. I definitely do feel as though that's where it's leading up to, but we'll see what happens. What happened, Andy? You okay, man? They got that bow from Stephen Amell. Or Oliver Queen pissed. Oliver Queen's pissed. Yeah, man. I'm looking really forward to it. But
yeah, Hawkeye.
What'd you say,
I said Hawkeye official. CMC official says Hawkeye is post Endgame with some flashbacks as Ronin.
Yeah, I was kind of assuming that was the direction they were going in.
Okay.
And Corey Seaver
Yeah,
said
I
he
definitely
saw a
feel
thing
that.
that says they're set in 2025.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Oh, is that the 5-year gap after Endgame? Is that what that? I'm assuming that 2025 piece
Yeah,
was.
that's
Maybe
what that
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
2025 will be. You know, with Cord still playing a
But
PS4 because he can't find a PS5.
that's right. But just to further go along with that, though, for Hawkeye information, it from this actually comes to us from Variety, that the Hawkeye series at Disney Plus has added 6 extra cast members to the cast itself. Vera Farmiga, which I think is super familiar to some people, especially if you were big fans of like the Conjuring series. She's going to be set up in this series as well. And Tony Dalton. There's actually a huge lineup, guys. So let's go through this. So it's not only showcase to you the new actors, but also who they're going to be playing, to maybe give us an idea as to the direction of this series. So it says, along with the series lead in Jeremy Renner and Hailee Steinfeld, Vera Farmiga, Florence Pugh, Fra Fee, Tony Dalton, Aliqua Cox, and Azan McLaren will appear in the series. It says Farmiga is attached to play the Marvel character Eleanor Bishop, the mother of Kate Bishop. So it seems as though Vera Farmiga is going to be playing the mother to Hailee Steinfeld. It also says here Fee will play a character named Kazi, most likely short for a mercenary villain clown. What the heck? I can't even pronounce that name. Kazimierz. Yeah, I don't even know, but a mercenary villain clown. All right, I'll take their word for it. Dalton will play Jack DeQuesney, more than likely to take on the Marvel character Jacques DeQuesney, or Swordsman, an early mentor to Hawkeye. Swordsman has been both a hero and a villain in the Marvel comics, and that's funny that they bring him up. I literally just read about Swordsman in a recent Marvel Comics crossover event for Empire. He had a small pivotal role to play in that series. So yeah, we're going to get Swordsman finally appearing in here also. And then, of course, we've got Pugh will reprise the role of spy assassin Yelena Belova, the sister of Black Widow. Pugh is set to play the character in the upcoming Black Widow movie opposite Scarlett Johansson, who has played the title character in multiple films throughout the MCU. And then, of course, last but not least, we've got newcomer Cox will play Maya Lopez, the true name of the Marvel character Echo, a deaf Native American who is capable of perfectly copying another person's movements, making her a formidable fire. This will mark Cox's on-screen debut. So, guys, we've got some brand new characters we're going to be getting from Marvel showcasing in here. Echo. We've got Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh from the Black Widow movie. We even have Swordsman that's going to be in here also. And of course, this mercenary villain clown and Kate Bishop's mother has in fact been cast overall. So I'm loving the sound of some of these additions that we have, to be honest with you. I was never expecting an Echo or a Swordsman, but now that I know that we're going to get it, give it to me, man. I'm certainly here for it. But the name that definitely does pop out to me is Yelena Belova. I love the fact that this, to me, feels very much like ramifications of what will take place in Black Widow may kind of pop back up here in Hawkeye. Maybe not necessarily like storyline details, but it definitely seems as though it's building already sort of that connective tissue between the Black Widow movie and this series. But let me kick this over to you, Stuart. You hear some of the names that have in fact been announced. What are your thoughts in regards to this?
Okay, I got 2 major thoughts I got to bring up. First one, Echo. So I've never heard of this character before, but sounds almost exactly like Cassandra Cain from DC comic books. Just that whole thing of just copying other people's movements perfectly and being able to learn exactly how they fight. The only difference is that, you know, whereas this character is deaf and is able to learn people's movements, for Cassandra Cain, it was like more of she was a mute. She never learned how to talk. Her language came from learning martial arts. So I am definitely intrigued by Echo's character. Sounds more like Cassandra Cain than the Cassandra Cain that we got in Birds of Prey, honestly. But
I get like Taskmaster vibes too a little bit.
Oh yeah, Taskmaster. I forgot he does that too. But the main thing that intrigued me, like I don't know if you guys saw my eyes widen, was Tony Dalton being involved in the cast, because I freaking love him in Better Call Saul, and I think like he's just the perfect guy to play a twist villain. So if I was writing the show and I had him in the show, that is exactly what I'd have. Is I'd have him be like the most likable character, and then have him just like very last episode turn out he's behind everything.
Yeah, I mean they say in there that believe I mentioned that he was going to be playing Swordsman, Hawkeye's mentor. So maybe he does
playing Swordsman. Okay,
I believe that's what I read off. I could be wrong. I believe that's what I read. But if anything, maybe he does start off sort of like as the good guy, as his mentor, but then maybe you come to find out by the end, because Swordsman has been hero and villain in the past. Maybe he does a swerve by the end. Who certainly knows? But Indy, let me pass this over to you, man. You hear the name of some of these characters and actors that are playing them. What do you think about some of these additions to the Hawkeye series?
I think somebody might be coming after Clint because he let Natasha die.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, that's honestly what I think might happen. But with the addition of Swordsman, with the addition, it's just going to be a very, very interesting show to have. Because all these characters we know behind the scenes, if you watch the comments, they all have something meaningful. You know what I'm saying, in the comics for their own, and to collide in this one show is going to be very interesting to see how they do this and how they put it together. Because I wouldn't put it past certain people thinking that it was Clint's fault for letting Natasha, you know what I'm saying, die, and probably coming after for some, you know what I'm saying, revenge for that. So that would be an interesting premise if they use that. But knowing them, they might not. This is Marvel, Disney we talking about. They don't make things overcomplicated. They keep it really simple. But I'm looking for one of these shows to just actually mind screw you on, you know what I'm saying, what's going on, and actually have you till the last episode trying to figure out, who's who, what's what side they're playing for. And to me, a Hawkeye series is the perfect catalyst for that.
Yeah, I can see that happening in Hawkeye. Maybe even something like a Falcon and a Winter Soldier. They tend to have those political thrillers, so I can see those twists and turns coming. If anything, for me, I'm going to be fascinated in this season, in this series, to really see what that relationship is going to be like between Hawkeye and Yelena, considering just her close contact with her sister and Black Widow. Clearly, her and Hawkeye would certainly have plenty to talk about, reminiscing about her sister and their past friend. So maybe we get ourselves a nice somber moment in kind of remembering Natasha from those particular Endgame moments. Since we never really got her a funeral and things like that, I don't necessarily know if a proper funeral is anything for Black Widow, considering how she's certainly lived her life, just kind of like this espionage agent. I don't know if you'll get a bajillion people at this funeral, but I would like to see them kind of talk things out, say a farewell to Natasha, and just see if Hawkeye maybe even gives her an additional blessing to be the next, Black Widow in this MCU. I think it's smart that they're utilizing Florence Pugh in that way, though.
Mm. And I'm also kind of wondering if one addition that they're kind of going to be doing with the show is like that idea of, because of Natasha, now Hawkeye is like afraid of working with someone else because he's afraid of losing them. And that's like kind of going to be like his arc is acceptance of it's okay to be attached, but just, you have to learn to accept that, you may lose them or they may lose you in return, kind of like with the Mandalorian.
Nice, man. I mean, yeah, I feel like there is potential here for something really special to come out of Hawkeye. It may not be on everybody's radar as like the most anticipated, but who knows? Maybe it winds up surprising us. And I think when you do have great talent that we've already seen added, introducing us to brand new characters, some familiar faces by the time this season drops, we might have something surprising on our hands. So we'll see what happens. But I'm glad to see that the Marvel Disney Plus TV shows are in production, and and are certainly headed our way. So we definitely have that to look forward to. But guys, listen, you've checked out some of the set photos for Hawkeye. We've talked about Hailee Steinfeld. You know who's joining the cast for this series. We want to know your thoughts as to everything that's happening with this Hawkeye TV series. Are you excited? Are you not? Definitely let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic of the day. This next one also comes to us from Deadline, but I got to be honest with you before we get into this. You know, Peter Dinklage, I feel like, is somebody that certainly is growing on me. No pun intended, but I will say this. I have loved what Peter Dinklage has done over the Indy's shaking his head. I've loved seeing just what Peter Dinklage has done in his career, coming from something like Elf to like X-Men Days of Future Past, all the way up to just recently in Game of Thrones sort of thing. I love seeing just where he's going to be taking his career next sort of thing. But I got to admit, this next feature from Peter Dinklage was something I was not expecting at all. I believe we might have talked about this movie being thrown into development, or at least the idea of it possibly in the works happening, but it feels as though this is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It seems as though we're going to be going back to a little bit of a cult classic with a friendly movie by the name of The Toxic Avenger, as Peter Dinklage is in fact set to take on the lead role. It says Peter Dinklage to star in Legendary's Toxic Avenger reboot. It says exclusive, Peter Dinklage continues to build a strong film slate in his post Game of Thrones career and looks to have found his next big projects. He is set to star in Legendary's new Toxic Avenger movie. Mackin Blair is on board to direct. It says a contemporary reimagining of Trauma Entertainment's successful 1984 low-budget action comedy hit. The Toxic Avenger is steeped in environmental themes and subverts the superhero genre in the vein of Deadpool. When a struggling everyman is pushed into a vat of toxic waste, he is transformed into a mutant freak who must go from shunned outcast to underdog hero as he races to save his son, his friends, and his community from the forces of corruption and greed. And then, yeah, we've got a couple of producers. It says the Toxic Avenger movie became successful after a long run as a midnight movie in New York City, and then eventually went on to several sequels, at least about 4. It also went on to a stage musical, a children's cartoon series, and a Marvel comic. So this definitely seems as though it's a property they want to go ahead and bring back. Considering the time that we live in, since they've already kind of pulled the trigger on something like a Deadpool, which feels to me a little bit in comparison with the Toxic Avenger outside of just the environmental side of things. Why not bring another superhero to the forefront similar to that significantly looks different, right? Not your average superhero, to say the least. But I think this is a really great role for Peter Dinklage. And I really want to see what he's able to do. I will be fascinated to see, like, are they just going to take his face on like a human-sized body, or they're just gonna like is the Toxic Avenger just gonna be Peter Dinklage himself? I'm kind of curious how they plan on doing this with like the effects and things like that. So I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think. Stuart, let me go ahead and throw this over to you. You know, the Toxic Avenger, growing up as a kid, I've always felt was never really a movie for kids. It's probably a movie I honestly probably should not have seen at such a young age, but I did, unfortunately. So I will say this. How do you feel about the idea of a Toxic Avenger movie happening? Do you think now is a perfect time? And what do you think about Peter Dinklage being starred in this series?
I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with talking about Peter Dinklage being cast before I talk about Toxic Avenger itself. First of all, one thing I really love about Peter Dinklage is, like, you know, there's definitely a big lack, you know, when it comes to representations for little people in Hollywood, because the biggest thing is that usually when they get casted, it's almost always, you know, because they're specifically looking for a little person to play that role. It's never because, you know, there's just a big role for someone to play. And, you know, usually, you know, it just doesn't happen. You know, it's just really hard for them to find like work that isn't like kind of, you know, your typical stereotypical, you know, we need someone to play a dwarf, or we need someone to play one of Santa's elves type of a thing. So what anybody
need a Hobbit?
Huh? Oh yeah.
Anybody need a Hobbit?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't even hire little people for that. They hire them for like, you know, the shots behind, you know, they'll hire like you know, taller people for that, and then they'll get like little people for the you know, exterior shots if their face isn't in it. But what's cool is that Peter Dinklage, because you know, he's such an amazing actor. He's kind of that person that's shown Hollywood that, you know, you can have little people play roles, you know, like of roles that maybe weren't originally meant for that and still do an amazing job. That's what I loved about his role as Trask in X-Men Days of Future Past. Like with the exception of like one or two lines kind of hinting that maybe it was maybe his genetics that makes him hate mutants, like, you know, in a couple of lines that hint at it, but never directly say it. That role didn't need to be written for a little person, but you know, Peter Dinklage had that role and he did such an amazing job with it. Yeah. And I think it just helps, you know, Hollywood itself, like kind of realize, you know, we can hire, you know, it doesn't have to specifically be for roles for little people, right? So anyways, with that being said, I am excited that he's playing this role. My thoughts on a new Toxic Avengers movie is I'm all for it, because the original one is, yeah, I love Lloyd Kaufman. Like as a person, he is freaking insane. One of these, like, you know, it probably won't ever happen, but he's the director I want to work with one of these days. But yeah, like the first Toxic Avengers movie I thought was just crazy. And all those movies are like that. Like it'll be interesting to see if, because more than likely, if this is going to be a more mainstream movie, it won't be in like kind of the same vein. It'll probably actually be taken serious, and like the people in the movie will like actually talk like people. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think him playing the Toxic Avenger was an awesome casting choice, and definitely looking forward to not only seeing what he brings to the role, but the type of movie that comes out of it, because the story for Toxic Avenger is kind of your basic superhero story, but the reason it had such a cult following is just, you know, same reason all of Lloyd Kaufman's film have like a huge cult following. It's just because of the way it's directed, the way he just loves to do all that gross out, I don't even know what I'd call it, like humor, gross out humor as well, but just gross out like scenes. Like not only does he use like a lot of blood, but he uses just so much weird like mutation kind of like weird effects. And on top of all of that, he's strangely good at it. For a guy who just makes these movies for fun and just has a lot of fun with it, he's really good at these visual effects that he does that are mostly used as a joke. And yeah, so with all that being said, yes, I'm majorly looking forward to the Toxic Avenger movie.
Nice. I love your enthusiasm for it, man. It's been a minute since I've actually watched the Toxic Avenger, so maybe I got to go back and revisit it after all these years. It's been a minute, but I do love the idea of this cult classic getting a little bit of a rebirth. But Indy, let me throw this over to you, man. Have you ever had the opportunity to check out the Toxic Avenger for yourself? And if not, does the idea of Peter Dinklage at least being attracted to this role at least piqued your interest to maybe give it a shot if you're not familiar with it?
The whole time Stuart was talking, I was digging through the crates to see if I could find a Toxic Avenger comic book to hold up. But I only got through 2 of them, and just my luck is probably in one of the other 6. I love the Toxic Avenger as a kid. Kind of like you said, I don't know if I was supposed to be watching it, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Definitely. Late night TV when they had it come on during what was the vampire dudes? They had the makeup on his face with the long hair.
I think I know.
Or whatever his name, Spengully, or whatever his name was, when the movies used to come on that, it was an amazing thing to me to just see that. It was the closest thing to me seeing the Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm saying? Because I saw a Toxic Avenger movie before I saw a Ninja Turtles live action movie. So to me, it was that type of thing, mutation. That's when I was going through that Michelangelo phase, you know? Okay. And to see a hero like him come from nothing to something. Get the blind girlfriend who didn't care how all the bumps and stuff she fell on him. I still love you. Him fight against, you know what I'm saying, corporations trying to take over his neighborhood. But for me, it was the mutation of RoboCop. You know, like it was a great movie. Now, Peter Dinklage and the quality of actor he is. Let's get past the whole, he's a little person, you know what I'm saying, thing. This man can act. And whether they're superimposing his face on a body or he's just voicing while somebody's in a suit, kind of like they're doing Swamp Thing, We know he's going to put his all into this movie and make it worth something. The only thing I ask is that I need a Deadpool Toxic Avenger crossover.
I don't know if that's happening, man, but I tell you, I do love the idea of that. But yeah, because they definitely do feel like they're in the same vein for sure. So I definitely do think there's certainly potential here. We haven't had a Deadpool movie in a minute, but nothing to say that we can't have another character similar in that vein, you know, in their own right, fighting for their own reasons and things like that. So it should be fun. I'm really excited for Peter Dinklage. I really want to see where he goes and how he takes this. For me, I think it'd be really fun to kind of superimpose his face over it or whatever the case might be. But I think they're definitely going to go ahead and make it work and certainly have some fun with it. So listen, guys, if you what were you going to say, Andy?
I was going to say they already made him a giant dwarf. I mean, they can do anything.
But this is true. They can do anything with him if they want to. But we'll see what happens here, guys. There was no release date as of yet for the film, but this is at least a great sort of first step into the development continuing to take place. Because I honestly think if you got a name like Peter Dinklage involved, people are it's definitely going to attract more eyes and certainly get more attention to eventually lift off and finally get to us. So we'll see. We'll definitely keep you guys posted with more Toxic Avenger news as we get it. But let's see. Go ahead.
One last thing I got to say about the topic. If they really want to find that perfect balance for keeping it as ridiculous as it was back when it first came out, but also trying to make it more modern, they need to hire James Gunn as the director.
I can't remember who did. I can't remember. I mean, that would be pretty awesome. But I believe they do have a director attached. I think it said Macon Blair, Macon, Macon Blair. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll look it up again. But I do believe the director's already attached to it. But
okay, never mind. Forget what I just said.
A good director at that, because I think he did a
Macon Blair, right?
Yeah, he did a couple of movies that I watched that somebody mentioned. Yeah, he directed Blue Ruin.
Oh, which one was that? I think I might have missed Blue Ruin. Blue Ruin?
Yeah, and a couple other movies that were actually really good movies. So I'm interested to see what his take on this will be. And just to let you know, Gabriel said, let us not forget, Peter Dinklage was also in the Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian.
Was he?
Yeah.
I think that, you know what? I'm a big fan of the Chronicles of Narnia, at least the first film. I love the first film, but once you start getting into the sequels, yeah, it started losing me. So that's probably why I don't recall him from that film. But guys, again, go ahead and let us know your thoughts. These are just our A+ opinions. We definitely want to know yours. Peter Dinklage, the lead role of Toxic Avenger. Let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that, let's go ahead and wrap that story up. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, one that I'm super excited to get into, man, because I was not expecting this at all. But listen, we're going to jump into the video game world real quick and just talk about video game movies, because I feel like some of us are still waiting for that big video game film to just completely take off. I mean, we had semi-success with the Tomb Raider, if you will. I mean, I guess it did okay at the box office. Sonic, I think, impressed some people to a certain extent also. But where's that $750 million movie, right? Where's that $1 billion movie when it comes to video games that we're certainly waiting on? Well, there is movement taking place for another video game to hit the big screen, and that is, in fact, Metal Gear Solid. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this week we finally wind up getting ourselves an announcement for this upcoming film as to who exactly is going to be playing Solid Snake himself. And according to Deadline, Oscar Isaac is set to star as Solid Snake. Mr. Oscar Isaac himself is going to be playing the lead role in Sony's Metal Gear Solid movie. And I could not be happier for this guy. I feel like we've talked about Oscar Isaac several times on this show, to be honest with you, in regards to where his career is certainly headed. But if anything, I feel like this is just another notch on his belt. So let's go ahead and just dive into this article. It does say Sony's long-awaited Metal Gear Solid adaptation looks to have gained some major momentum, as sources tell Deadline that Oscar Isaac is attached to play Solid Snake in the film, which is currently in development at Sony Pictures, with it looks like Jordan Vogt-Roberts on board to direct. Jordan Vogt-Roberts. The film is based on Metal Gear Solid video game created by Hideo Kojima, and published by Konami. The script is written by Derek Connolly. AV Arid is producing. It says the game was first launched. Okay, they're just going to go into some game information here in regards to this season. But it says, given Isaac's extremely busy schedule, a production's start date is still unknown, but his involvement makes his priority a high priority for the studio going forward. As for Isaac, Metal Gear Solid could give him another major franchise, already starred in the most recent Star Wars franchise also. So, I mean, it also goes on to say that he's been tapped to not only play in Moon Knight, but this guy's also going to be in freaking Dune as well. I mean, you want to talk about just a talented man. Just getting amazing opportunities in front of him. Oscar Isaac, man, is just continuing to become a star if he's not already one in front of our very eyes. But I'm loving the thought of this, honestly. So let me go ahead and kick this over to the very well disguised Indy Uchiha over here. Let me go ahead and pull him up and see what he thinks about the Metal Gear Solid movie and Oscar Isaac.
Wait, where'd Indy go? I don't see him. I'm an NPC from Metal Gear Solid. All I see is a box.
I didn't think it would work. I'm very excited for this movie. I'm very excited for who they cast in this movie. To me, this is one of the video game properties that could most likely be the best, you know what I'm saying, done on screen. I do think that Mortal Kombat, which is coming out next year, would do very, very well. But when it comes to Metal Gear Solid, it can be a franchise for the video game world. It can do what Tomb Raider didn't do. It can do what these other movies didn't do because of how well the story is put together in that game. You already have the lore built. All you literally have to do is translate it to the film itself. And I think they're well off on a tangent for what could be, as Adam asked for, the first $1 billion video game film.
Oh, you think it could get there?
I definitely think it can get there. The only other one that they could probably do that will probably get there is if they made a good Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, don't forget Uncharted is still out there. Uncharted.
Ain't nobody worried about Uncharted. We already watched the movie playing the video game.
I also just assume that because of the fact that, you know, it lends itself so well to being a cinematic video game like that it might really turn into a great sort of on-screen action adventure film. You know what I mean?
Nah. Metal Gear Solid will be it. Like I said, you have to take one of the big franchise characters, and make some type of story, you know what I'm saying, around it if you wanted to do something like that. But the story's already there for Metal Gear, you know. The enemies, the heroes, the just the whole thing that's going on with the Metal Gears being built. I mean, it's a really good movie. It's an army RoboCop.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely will agree with you, especially when it comes to just the Metal Gear Solid lore, but also like just all the characters that they've managed to build over the years, like Ocelot and things like that. Like I would love to be able to see who's going to be cast for some of those characters also. But definitely a rich lore for Metal Gear Solid to go ahead and dive into. And I definitely agree with you. It certainly could become its own franchise if it wanted to. But Stuart, let me go ahead and throw this over to you. Have you been a big fan of the Metal Gear Solid video game series? And then now that you hear that we're going to get Oscar Isaac as a movie, what do you think the potential is here?
With Oscar Isaac, I think the only way you could have gotten a better casting choice is if you had a time machine. You could go back to the 80s and you could get Kurt Russell to play Solid Snake. But since that doesn't exist, I think Oscar Isaac is the next best choice. Couple things that concern me is, even though I love Metal Gear Solid, it's also a really a very complicated kind of story with all the lore, like you guys said. so portraying that, into a movie is going to be a challenge for the writers, and I'm intrigued to see how they do it. Now, one of the writers, Derek Connolly, I'm looking at his IMDb page. He was one of the writers for Rise of Skywalker, and one of the critiques I give that movie is that it's written like a video game. So I'm actually kind of wondering if that's why they hired him, for that specific reason. Because literally Rise of Skywalker is one mission, then another mission, then another mission type of thing. So it'll be, I'm intrigued with the director and the other writer, Jordan Roberts. I don't really know much about either of them, what they've done. So I don't really have too much of an opinion. I know that Jordan Roberts directed Kong Skull Island. But he's one of the writers. So I'm curious how he's going to do as, I'm wrong. Sorry. He was the director. He is the director for Metal Gear. My bad. Either way. So I am curious to see how he does. Huh?
I do like that idea though of the director from Kong Skull Island being actually the one to direct this film. For me that sounds pretty interesting, and I love the fact that you brought up the writer too. Now, like for me, that kind of threw up a red flag. You're like, oh, he wrote Rise of Skywalker. I wasn't the biggest fan of that particular film, but maybe that type of writing works okay for another film, right? Like maybe that type of writing just did not work well for a Star Wars movie, but maybe it lines up perfectly with what they're looking for in Metal Gear Solid. So I like that point.
Sorry. Last point I need to make real quick is my biggest concern with this film is one of the producers the main producer they got on board with it. Avi Arad is one of the worst producers in Hollywood and should not be allowed to work. He is the reason that Spider-Man 3 was as bad as it was. I don't blame Sam Raimi for Spider-Man 3 at all. I completely blame Avi Arad. He's the reason Spider-Man, the original animated series, got canceled. He's the reason the Sony Spider-Verse ended up being the mess that it was, and they weren't able to do anything past the Amazing Spider-Man 2. He is a terrible producer and does not deserve to have that title, honestly. So the fact that he's producing this film worries me, because he's probably going to demand that they pack way too many things into the movie, and it's just gonna. If it's a mess, I'm going to blame Avi Arad, even if it's not his fault, because the thing is, he has such a bad reputation that it's one of those things where he's had all this stuff to kind of prove that he's a bad producer. So it's it's hard to tell, when it's not his fault. It's hard to tell, if it's not his fault or something. So yeah.
that kind of does scare me just a little bit, just because I feel like I've seen the name before. And when I read it, I do remember red flags going off, but I couldn't recall why. So I'm glad that you at least reminded me here. But the fact that you said he likes to throw a bunch of stuff into one movie, and now we've got the writer of The Rise of Skywalker who threw so much stuff into, or at least was a part of the writing team that threw so much into The Rise of Skywalker. I am a little bit worried. The one thing you mentioned also, Stuart, the idea of just having so much lore, what should feel like a slam dunk, maybe not the case, right? I mean, think of Assassin's Creed. I think we thought when Michael Fassbender was cast, we were like, yes, Assassin's Creed is going to be great, but look at the lore and how much went into that. How much is in the video game, trying to translate that maybe that might be an issue. What are you thinking, Indy?
I think that Metal Gear Solid is way simpler than what Assassin's Creed is.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed, game lore went all
we're talking Adam and Eve type of stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, what are you doing? As long as, like Corey Seaver said, it's a Warcraft movie all over again. As long as it's better than what they tried to do with Warcraft, better than what they tried to do with Assassin's Creed, we shouldn't have an issue. Shadow Nova says, I love how stylized Kong Skull Island was. Interested to do the same with Metal Gear. To be honest with you, how they did Kong Skull Island lends itself very well to what we can have in a Metal Gear type world with the visuals and how they set up the story, because Kong was mostly story. You know what I'm saying? Here's a moment, you know what I'm saying, with this big gorilla. The way they did it was very, very good. There's so much story to tell. As long as you don't try to tell everything in one movie, you'll be good.
Yeah, I'm hoping they have the mindset of, hey, we have a franchise on our hands, so let's take some time in developing the story properly. But I'm glad that you wind up bringing that up. That yeah, it's not quite Assassin's Creed for sure. So maybe it does lend himself. And you know, again, Oscar Isaac is one of those those actors that I think depending, like, it doesn't even matter what the context is or what the material is, he's always going to sort of elevate it. So I am curious to see who else they're going to go ahead and bring in around him to go ahead and solidify the rest of this cast. But you know, I can't lie, I'm super excited about the casting. A part of me is a little bit concerned, kind of just on that 50, still on the fence. I need to learn a little bit more, but I'm really eager to certainly see this. I didn't know that they in development or we're thinking about making one, but now that I know that they are bringing on, I was a big fan of the first two, like on the PlayStation back in the day. I was a huge fan of the series, and then when it moved over to PS2 also, I kind of fell off after it though, after that. But I really love the franchise, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I feel like right now we've got maybe 3 video game movies, potentially, like Uncharted I know is coming, Metal Gear Solid, and I want to say there was like another one, Mortal Kombat, yes, Mortal Kombat, a fellow video game trinity that maybe could bring some good luck to the movie side of things for video games. So we'll see what happens. But guys, listen, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is so I'm not trying to say that the movie is going to be bad. I'm just saying it's going to be a challenge to make it good. It's going to be a huge challenge for the writers. So I'm still definitely intrigued all the way.
I think I would feel better if it was a director or producer that has something to do with maybe the Bourne series or maybe a 007, a James Bond. You know what I'm saying? Series. Because that's literally the essence where the inspiration for this type of game came from. So if it was something to do with that, maybe we will feel a little bit better, you know, and how successful the movie's going to be.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, we'll definitely keep you guys posted on further development. Once we start getting some more information, maybe some plot details or other casting, maybe Metal Gear Solid movie will be brought back up in our topics for us to certainly go ahead and discuss. But listen, again, these are just our A+ opinions. We definitely want to know yours. So let us know your thoughts on Oscar Isaac as Metal Gear, as Solid Snake himself, and your thoughts on the potential of a franchise for this video game. Let us go ahead and know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that, we're going to go ahead, quick shout out real quick, but just to break things up, quick shout out goes out to Kevin, one of our fellow A+ers on our page over on Facebook. He just had his birthday today. So everybody give Kevin a big birthday shout out today. And then let's see here. Let's go ahead and transition into some DC talk. We've got a couple of DC topics that we want to go ahead and end off the show with. One of these topics is something that we actually talked about earlier on this week on our A+ Hero Report YouTube page when it comes to DC television and the Arrowverse. I feel like there's a ton of moving parts that are taking place in the DC television universe right now, but one of them is a returning very familiar face that we all know, and David Ramsey himself. He has officially said, I'm not done with the Arrowverse, ladies and gentlemen. He's not done at all. So let's go ahead and get into this article to show exactly how David Ramsey plans on sticking around in the Arrowverse just a little bit longer. This comes to us from Deadline.com. David Ramsey set to direct, along with return as John Diggle and a mysterious character in the CW's Arrowverse. It says exclusive, David Ramsey will be busy both behind and in front of the cameras for the CW. Ramsey, who most recently starred in Arrow as John Diggle, will return to direct 5 episodes in the DC universe, including the new series Superman and Lois and Supergirl. Additionally, Ramsey will guest star in 5 episodes across the Arrowverse, returning as a fan favorite, John Diggle in Superman and Lois. He's also going to be in Supergirl, The Flash, and Batwoman, along with a mystery role in Legends of Tomorrow that is being sort of kept under wraps. He also did make his directorial debut on Arrow back in 2018 and directed a 2nd episode during the final season. So it does say that in the series finale of Arrow, Ramsey Ramsey's John Diggle did move to Metropolis after finding an emerald ring, presumably the power ring worn by Green Lantern in the pages of DC Comics. There has been speculation that Diggle might return at some point as the Green Lantern, so certainly stay tuned. So big news here for David Ramsey. First, I'm glad to see that he's actually getting his feet wet yet again in regards to being in that director's chair. That'll be 5 projects total this year for him. So he's just getting better and better at what he's certainly doing. So I'm really eager to see what else he has in store. But I personally already talked about this, and I'll give my thoughts on it a little bit more also. But I do want to pass this over real quick to who did I start off with last time? Did I start off with you, Indy, last time? Okay, so let me throw this over to Stuart then. Stuart, what are your thoughts in the idea of David Ramsey not only coming back to direct 5 episodes, but also returning as John Diggle and a mysterious character? What are your thoughts?
Man, first with him directing 5 episodes, I didn't even know he directed an episode of Arrow previously, so I definitely need to rewatch it just to get an idea of what to expect with his upcoming episodes he'll be directing. But yeah, I think awesome for him, and I'm really happy he's coming back because yeah, he was one of my favorite characters in Arrow, and at the same time, though, I'll say this. I wouldn't have been mad if he never returned. If like that ending we got of him opening up the box and implying that it was the Green Lantern ring, if that was all we got of him, I would consider that a very satisfying conclusion. But with that said, I'm also really happy that we're getting more of it. It does sound, though, as if he is going to be playing just himself. Like maybe he's too afraid to like put the ring on, or he hasn't fully discovered its true potential. That's what it kind of sounds like. So he'll just be John Diggle for those 4 episodes until the mysterious role with Legends. I assume that will be when we see him as the Green Lantern. So I'm curious to see if that's how they end up doing it, or maybe they are doing something completely different with the mysterious role, and they're really just throwing that out there to really throw us off and really surprise us. But either way, I'm definitely excited that he's coming back to the Arrowverse, and I'm glad it's not just the Flash, because that was one thing I was really happy to hear about, is he's going to be in almost all the shows. So it'll be really cool to see how he interacts with all these other characters that he's never really interacted with that much. I don't think he's ever had a scene with Superman, and maybe not even with Batwoman either. Batwoman, it wasn't the Batwoman we're going to get if he did have a scene with Batwoman. Good point. Before. So yeah, I'm excited and everything, and especially to see what he's going to do in Legends of Tomorrow, to see, because he's always been kind of the grounded person when it comes to the Arrowverse. Like he's always the one who gets weirded out by all the multiverse stuff, all the alien stuff. So it'll be really awesome to see him get out of that comfort zone, become a Green Lantern, and interact with the Legends of Tomorrow crew, who does like all the crazy adventures like all the time. So I look forward to that interaction more than anything else.
I'm definitely glad that you brought up the interaction side of things, because that is one that I am looking forward to. Seeing him bump into Javicia Leslie as her Batwoman, that should be really interesting to see how it turns out. If anything, I do love the idea of maybe this feels like a little mini John Diggle crossover event. You know what I mean? Like we can't get something sprawled out, but maybe we have ourselves a nice little 5 mini story arc for John Diggle across these episodes. Let me throw this over to you, to you, Indy. You hear this this news. John Diggle himself is coming back, Mr. David Ramsey. How do you think they're going to be utilizing these 5 episodes? What do you think's going on?
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. That those who worship evil's might, beware my power, John Diggle's light.
So stupid. I love it.
No, that's exactly what I think when I hear this. This is him being able to put his stamp on something that one of the longest running actors, you know what I'm saying, in the Arrowverse. He was there from like episode 2 of Arrow, so for him to be able to put his stamp on, especially, which is, if we look at how the season goes, he's one of the last ones. Like I think he will be, you know what I'm saying, the last one to take a bow out, because we don't know what's happening. I'm just giving up on this Green Arrow and the Canary show. I'm just going to stop worrying about it, because it doesn't like it's happening. Cat is on the other things. Everybody's doing other stuff. So, but no, I'm looking forward, like Stuart said, to seeing what happens, and them putting the penultimate episode as being a Legends episode. let you do whatever you want to do and have it not affect your Arrowverse, because everything that happens in Legends can be reset. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I feel like maybe this is the long game, that they knew what they wanted to do. And now they got him back in. Hey, we'll let you direct 4 episodes if you come back and be in 5. You know, like that type of deal. Made a deal with him so he could put on that suit. It'd be smart for them. It'd be smart for WB in general, especially with that Green Lantern TV show coming later. You know what I'm saying? To let us see a Green Lantern for those people who might not know what the Green Lanterns are, so that it builds hype for that HBO Max show. But this could honestly boost the ratings for our CW shows also, because he is like a top 3 character in the Arrowverse.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't want to say I forgot that he was like the last remaining one of the originals, but it's cool that you point that out, especially with Arrow no longer being broadcast any longer. So to see Mr. John Diggle still carrying on after all this, it's good to see that his character is still pushing forward with things. I don't want to see the John Diggle character like erased after this. Like I really want him to still have a significant role in this Arrowverse if he can, whether that be part of their Justice League that they've kind of created that's already losing a couple of members, if it feels like already. So they definitely need some people to kind of step up and take those roles. But I like this. I think this is a great opportunity. So yeah, he's not only he's directing 5 episodes, and he will be in 5 episodes. I'm assuming he's directing himself. Like if you ask me, I would assume then that these 5 episodes he's guest starring in will also be the same episodes that he's directing. I could be wrong with that, but that's definitely how it certainly feels to me. Do you think that this is going to be a case of all these episodes are going to be happening back to back, all within like that week sort of thing? Or you think it's going to be well, I guess it has to be spread out because Supergirl and Superman and Lois are going to be kind of all over the place. So I am fascinated to see how they plan on releasing these episodes, since I feel like everybody has their own release schedule now, it's going to be vastly different.
I don't think he'll be in the episodes he's directing, just because in movies that's a lot easier because you have way less of a time crunch. But with specifically CW shows, there's a major time crunch, and it's really hard within that time crunch to be able to both direct and star in a show. That's why you notice how, like in The Flash, when Caitlin Snow is directing an episode, she is barely in that episode. And then same with Legends of Tomorrow with Katie Lott, she was like barely in the episode that she directed. So I don't think he'll be in those episodes in particular. But yeah, I also like, kind of for me, I guess I do kind of hope it's spread out and they don't like let us know when it happens, just because I want to be surprised when he makes his appearances, rather than it just being 5 episodes at once. So, but I'm not sure if that's how they're going to do it. Again, with COVID just being like the way it is, it might be just one of those things of, hey, now that you've been quarantined, now that we know you're safe, we're just going to have you jump from one set to another, and then, you're good to go.
Good point. Andy, let me ask you the big question, man. Do you think we get John Diggle as a Green Lantern, suit and all, by the end of this series of Arrowverse shows?
No, I don't.
Ooh, you still don't think they pull the trigger?
As much as I want them to pull the trigger, I don't think you'll get it. What I think you'll get is possibly him looking into the lore or what's going on with this ring. And then you might get him accepting, it at the end, and like the big tease that we get. To me, that'd be the better thing. Because I really feel like if it was going to be something where he actually puts on a suit, it's going to have to take all 5 episodes. It's not something that I want over, in 5 minutes, 5 to 12 minutes. Like commercial break, next thing you know, he's in the suit. They beat up the bad guy and he flies away. I really want them to take their time with this. And I would rather it lead up to tease with him figuring out what this is, with him learning about Oa, maybe, not accepting what's going on, and then actually putting on the ring. We see a flash of green and the show goes off, rather than him be in the suit for 15 minutes on a Legends episode or something like that and it'd be over with.
Yeah, it would be super trippy, especially considering just John Diggle, how everything multiverse or alien freaks him out. Can you imagine John Diggle coming to face with an OA Guardian or freaking Kilowog for the very first time? Like, you know what? Give me a Ryan Reynolds cameo as Hal Jordan. Just jump in here and like recruit John Diggle to be part of the Green Lantern Corps.
Be funny as heck, especially because they had concept art for I always forget the first Green Lantern's name before Hal Jordan, but the guy from like the Golden Age comics.
Yeah.
Oh, Alan Scott.
Alan Scott, that's it. Yeah, that in Legends of Tomorrow, when they first started writing season 2, and they were writing up for the Justice Society to be in season 2, they had concept art of Alan Scott, but just not that they ever planned on reaching out to him because they probably knew he would say no. But they even put it on like a picture of Ryan Reynolds essentially for when they were like designing the costume for Alan Scott. But then before development actually started, DC was like, no, you can't use any Green Lantern. Not even Alan Scott.
At this in our climate that we're in now, I would never say never anymore, right? Who I mean, we got Ezra Miller across from Grant Gustin last season, so who's to say we don't get a Ryan Reynolds as an Alan Scott or Hal Jordan real quick? You know what I'm saying? Anything's possible.
Get him as Hal Jordan eating a chimichanga.
Yes, I love it.
References with one stone. Yes.
Yeah.
What Gabriel says, I found out recently that Diggle has been so popular he's officially a character in the comics. He's been for the past few years. Yeah, that's one thing I've loved is that some of the popularity just coming out of this television shows are having impacts on the comic books for sure. Because I think didn't they just introduce? I don't know if Ryan Wilder was a DC comic book character prior to this, but I thought they just started introducing her into some of the Batwoman comics also. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
No, you're correct.
No, you're right. They did the same thing with Harley Quinn. They did the same thing with Agent Coulson. Agent Coulson wasn't a big deal in the comics till after, you know what I'm saying, his portrayal in live action, and now you can't get rid of him. Cartoon comics. And we see what happens with Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah.
Same thing with Artemis from Young Justice.
Young Justice, yeah, they threw her right into the comments afterwards.
So yeah, it's definitely possible, Gabriel, for sure, man. I think that's so cool that it happened.
Jesse Just Tracks Hope said DC is so confusing.
I mean, I can see how DC can be confusing just because I feel like they enjoy messing with their characters so much. You know, they don't mind flipping the script a lot and just telling these odd and absurd stories and really going all out. Sometimes they really have no fear with playing around with their characters. It feels like it can be a little bit confusing. I feel like for some people. But listen, guys, at the end of the day, though, we definitely want to know your thoughts. Now that you know John Diggle is returning to the Arrowverse for 5 episodes, David Ramsey directing 5 episodes also. Do you think we're going to get the Green Lantern? Certainly go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below as Indy's over here doing his best Booker T impression. Sucker! All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. I'm going to go ahead and stick here in the DC television world. One that I'm really fascinated to talk about, guys, because it truly does feel as though we are entering a new phase of DC television. With the departure of Stephen Amell leaving Arrow, we've got Melissa Benoist leaving the show and Supergirl. I'm pretty sure if anything, she probably will remain Supergirl, maybe pop in from time to time whenever they need, but Supergirl's going off the air. Arrow's is off the air. We just recently had an announcement that Black Lightning also is officially wrapping up after season 4. So a lot of these shows are certainly falling by the wayside. One of our only 2 of our favorite, well, I guess you should say more original shows from DC television, like The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, are certainly still around. But there's supposed to be like this upswing in change that's happening at the CW. Now that Arrowverse is losing some of their shows, it feels like a rebuilding process here. And this is, in fact, next story is in fact maybe part of that also. So let's go ahead and dive into this. We've been talking recently over the past couple of weeks of these new characters that are certainly kind of being brought to the television screen, maybe before we've even had the opportunity to open up a comic book and learn about them, or maybe just brand new to the comic book world, but getting these live action opportunities. Well, It certainly seems as though that's another opportunity that's about to happen for another DC comic book character by the name of Naomi. And this comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter, letting us know that the star-studded and ever so popular Ava DuVernay herself sets DC Comics drama Naomi to the CW. Mind you, Ava DuVernay is already working on a Warner Brothers, a small movie. Maybe you've heard of it before, New Gods. She's apparently been working on that for quite some time now. But this comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter. It says the potential, mind you, the potential series is based on the title written by Brian Michael Bendis, who I love his writing, by the way, and David Walker. It says Ava DuVernay is setting her sights on the CW. The prolific writer, producer, and director is teaming with Jill Blankenship from Arrow to develop DC Comics title Naomi for the younger skewing broadcast network. Based on the 2019 DC's title written by 2019, she debuted, written by Brian Michael Bendis and illustrated by breakout artist Jamal Campbell. You've probably have seen Jamal Campbell's artwork on some of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger covers. It says Naomi follows a young woman on her unique hero's journey. The CW take, which is being written and executive produced by DuVernay and Blankenship, they're writing and producing, follows a teen girl's journey from her small northwestern town to the heights of the multiverse. When a supernatural event rattles her hometown, Naomi sets out to uncover the origins. What she discovers will challenge everything people believe about superheroes. So it says the drama hails from Warner Brothers, where DuVernay's production company is under a rich overall deal. It says Naomi arrives as the CW plots an expansion of the DC Comics verse as several of its Greg Berlanti produced comic book dramas wraps their runs. The Mark Podowitz led broadcast last season said farewell to Arrow, along with Supergirl and Black Lightning. So it says, should Naomi go to a series, it should mark the first DC drama of the networks that isn't produced by Berlanti. It's yet to be determined if Naomi will be connected to the Berlanti verse, which currently includes The Flash, Legends, Batwoman, Black Lightning, Supergirl, and Superman and Lois. So man, you guys hear this news. For me, this is super exciting. I love the fact that Warner Brothers was able to land somebody like Ava DuVernay to go ahead and actually tackle this. But I want to go ahead and set this over to Indy first. Now, the Naomi character certainly is not somebody that I'm familiar with. It's not a comic book that I've picked up. I have seen the comic book on the comic book shelves. You know, I've seen her teaming up with the likes of like Young Justice or whatever the case may be, you know, some of the younger skewed characters. But I've never actually picked up the comic, despite the fact that I'm such a huge fan of Brian Michael Bendis. So I'm not familiar with this character. So let me pass this over to you, Indy. What do you know about the Naomi character, and what do you think just about the idea of somebody like Ava DuVernay even tackling something for CW television like this?
Well, first, thank you, Mr. Adam Perez. Like to let you know that I'm doing a character breakdown for Naomi right now. So if you want to know her full background story, you can always check us out on Patreon and get that character breakdown for that. It'd be very interesting. But no, Naomi is a very interesting character for me, I feel, to be coming on. One, because she has a very similar background to other heroes that we know, because she comes from another Earth. She was sent by her parents to save her life to our prime Earth. And then she developed powers, you know what I'm saying, later on. She's been mentored by the likes of Superman himself. She's been part of the Young Justice team. She has incredible powers, flight, energy manipulation, among other things. And like her only true weakness is her using her powers so much that she can't sustain them, and she ends up like fainting or being tired. She has durability, superhuman strength, and she could transform. It like that's when she like puts on that golden armor and stuff that you see her wearing. She has one of the most intriguing Yeah, she has, and the armor looks amazing to start off with. The fact that she could put it on, that heightens her durability that she has. One of the most interesting things about her backstory is actually where she comes from, because she comes from a different Earth and a different multiverse, universe, whatever you want to call it, that's almost exactly like Earth Prime. The only difference is that so much stuff has happened that the ozone layer depleted, the Earth was hit with radiation, and like 21 people on the planet ended up with superpowers. And you already know what happened when people end up with superpowers. Some are going to try to take over, some are going to defend. The thing about them was that the 21 people that ended up with superpowers, they weren't able to conceive children until Naomi's mother, who was one of those 21, ended up having her. And they had to send her away in order to protect her from somebody else who wanted to lead the other, you know what I'm saying, who wanted to take over the Earth and show that he was more powerful by killing the mother and the child. So if they stick to the premise of what the story actually is going to be and her background, everything like that, it could be a very, very interesting story on where it comes from, where she comes from, and how it goes if done right. So I'm really interested in seeing how they're going to, if it gets picked up, how they apply this to television to start off with.
Okay, it took me until now to realize that I was muted the whole time I was going on. But yeah, no, what I was saying is, yeah, so I'll definitely have to check out your full character breakdown for her, because yeah, I don't really know anything about her with the comic books. Never read any of her anything about her in the comic books, so it'll be awesome to see like a character I've never heard of getting her own TV show. But what really intrigues me is the fact that they got someone who's directing an upcoming DC film to do this show that's coming to the CW, because way too many times you get like directors that have done a movie or are about to do a movie, and then suddenly they have that mindset of oh well, I do movies, I'm too good for television now. Or if they do television, it's always like on a streaming service like Netflix or now HBO Max in this case. So it's really cool to see directors that don't think of themselves like, you know, being too good for something. And they're like, you know, talents can have range. You can, just because someone's good at one thing, that doesn't mean they're too good for something else. So, I really like that. So it's really going to be cool to see what she brings to not only this, but New Gods as well. My bad. I thought Adam was back. Never mind. Or is he?
Sorry, guys. Hold on one moment. Keep talking amongst yourselves about it.
All right. But nah, definitely with her being an Omega level threat, it's going to be pretty interesting how they decide to portray her powers, you know what I'm saying, on screen. For me, her being a female, also being, you know what I'm saying, having the ethnic background, it's something to me for young women to be looking up to, for a character to be this powerful, you know what I'm saying? Something that rivals Superman and Wonder Woman's power, but her being young and trying to learn how to control it. Brian Michael Bendis, David Walker, and Jamal Campbell are really good at creating young characters that, you know what I'm saying, translate to what's going on right now. So I'm looking forward to it. I actually have the Naomi #1. I read it. It's an excellent, you know what I'm saying, book. She was one of the characters that intrigued me from the Young Justice stuff, that she was in. So I wanted to get a little background on her. So I honestly think that if done right, she will be that one of those flagship characters, especially for DC television in the future.
And one thing I noticed with the CW recently, with all like the announcements that they're coming up with the upcoming superheroes. So you got Painkiller, you got Wonder Girl, and then you got Naomi. Plus, you already have the fact that Stargirl's already on the CW as well. It really feels like their upcoming shows are kind of. It almost feels like they're really building up like a younger superhero team. Like as soon as the Flash retires, and then along with Legends and all the other currently going DC TV shows, it kind of feels feels like their next idea is superheroes, but ones that the younger audience can relate to. So we might be getting like the same type of crossovers that we had been getting in the past, but it'll be like, instead of them building up to a Justice League team, it'll be them building up to their own version of the Teen Titans or the Young Justice.
Yeah, I would love to see a CW version of either of those two teams, honestly. But yeah, it definitely feels that way. I'm expecting, hopefully, here, if the Flash sticks around for another couple seasons, hopefully they help develop another speedster to maybe add to this young lineup. I think speedsters are super important, so hopefully they introduce us to somebody else, maybe a Bart Allen at some point in time. I know we've mentioned him several times. You know, if you're trying to bring in a new cast, if the idea of Wally West didn't work, why not Bart Allen or something like that? So we'll see what happens, but it definitely feels as though with a lot of the older shows kind of departing, that maybe this Arrowverse or Berlanti-verse of ours is significantly changing right before our eyes with all this young talent that they're starting to bring in. So we'll see if these shows wind up getting picked up, though. Painkiller, that's none of these shows are certainly guaranteed, but hopefully they will in fact become series, and we'll have new characters for us to enjoy, because that's the one thing that we've talked about before, right? Like, if you are going to be canceling these shows, you got to start bringing popular new stars and start building them to kind of carry this on, if that's where you want to continue to go. So do you think it's going to feel significantly different going forward? Like, do you think that Berlanti Arrowverse sort of mindset is kind of gone now, and now they're really going into a completely new phase of something different, or do you think it'll still feel that way?
If you're going by the latest, let's say you're going by Stargirl and you're going by Black Lightning, the latest two, you know what I'm saying, that have come out, I really do feel like it's going to change. Because think about the Berlanti, especially the earlier ones, it was like a slow draw when it came to everything hyping up and everything. But then when you look at like Black Lightning or Stargirl, stuff just seems to be more quicker pace. Like they have the blueprint that they want to do, and it just keeps going. I really think you're going to end up with everything feeling and looking different, but we'll be so used to what's going on that it won't feel different. You see what I'm saying? Like they're edging us into what we're going to have in the future. They're slowly getting us there. So it's not like a shock to our system. Like, this isn't what we like. Because if you look at when Arrow first started and jumped it off, and you looked at Stargirl, they're two totally different spectrums, you know what I'm saying, of what it was supposed to be. But Stargirl is so much better than what Arrow was. And that's because they took everything that they learned and they put it into that. And that's why Stargirl is as good as it is. And hopefully that's what we get from these new shows, is Superman and Lois. Is it Superman and Lois?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Superman and Lois.
Okay, the Superman and Lois, the Painkiller show we're possibly going to get. So the hype should be great. They should be better written. They should be better shot. I'm really interested in seeing what's going on.
What was I going to say? I really hope, like, more than anything, because I think the first step to getting to what you were talking about, Indy, would be if they were to cut back the episodes. I think that's why all the CW shows feel like they kind of drag at times, because you're taking plots that really could be resolved in 13 to 16 episodes, and you could still have filler in it. Because I'm a guy who likes the filler episodes, if they're done well. And so that's why I think 13 to 16 is the perfect number, because you can have a decent amount of filler episodes that just, evolve the characters, but don't necessarily move the plot forward. But you can still tell a very solid story within that amount of time. It's just, I don't know, when you add that many more episodes, you kind of get the idea that a lot of the filler episodes are just like episodes that the writers themselves don't even care about. And you definitely get that feeling. But when there's less episodes, then writers tend to put in a lot more effort into each individual episode, including the filler ones. So, that's where I think I'm not saying that's the only thing they need to do to change everything. It's no, I just think that's a really good first step, though. Less episodes.
Yeah, I'm always down for that. You guys know I love me a good 15, 16. I feel like that's a pretty good mark for me. But we'll see what happens going forward, man. But big things are certainly coming our way for DC television. Hopefully, we'll definitely keep you all posted once more information becomes available to us. Maybe we wind up getting some new announcements later on down the road of some new characters joining us. But yeah, DC television is certainly changing before our eyes. I'm here for it. I'm curious to see what they're capable of doing, though. But other than that, guys, I think we're going to wrap up with that story. We've got one more that we want to go ahead and tackle, and then we're going to jump into your guys' live viewer questions to actually go ahead and wrap up this storyline. But continuing along when it comes to DC and just Warner Brothers in general, 2021 is going to be unlike any other, not only for just Warner Brothers, but honestly for the movie industry as well. But this actually comes to us from Variety.com, letting us know that it seems as though WB has a ton of plans for their movies this upcoming year. Warner Brothers is set to debut its entire 2021 film slate, including Dune, Matrix 4, both on HBO Max and in theaters. So it says when Warner Brothers announced that Wonder Woman 1984 would land on the streaming service on HBO Max on Christmas, the same time it debuts in theaters, many expected it would be an isolated experiment in response to an unprecedented pandemic. Instead, the studio will develop or deploy a similar release strategy for the next 12 months. In a surprising break from the industrial standards, Warner Brothers' entire 2021 slate, a list of 17 films, mind you, that include The Matrix 4, Dune, In the Heights, the Sopranos sequel, The Main Saints of Newark, and The Suicide Squad will debut both on HBO Max and in theaters on their respective release dates. The shocking move to release movie date and date underscores the crisis facing movie theaters and the rising importance of streaming services in the wake of the global health crisis that's decimated the film exhibition community. It says in the short term, the movie will inject some welcome buzz into HBO Max, a Netflix challenger that launched last spring without generating much sizzle. I believe in here, I don't know if it's actually. It says, like Wonder Woman 1984, the films that Warner Brother plans to release in 2021 will be available on HBO Max subscribers for 31 days. After the 1 month mark, those movies will play in theaters until they reach their traditional home entertainment frame. From there, you can go ahead and rent it online and different platforms, but it is unclear as to when the titles will return to HBO Max. So again, just to clarify, they will be available for the first 31 days of its release, both in movie theaters and on HBO Max. And then after that, it'll be simply in theaters until it's ready to go out to other streaming services. So big moves, man, big moves. I've heard a couple of movie theater chains already kind of upset about this move. I mean, talk about really upending the movie industry or the movie theater industry. I should certainly say, but not many companies can kind of get away with it. If anything, maybe just Warner Brothers and Disney because of the fact that they do own a ton of their property. But it will be fascinating to see how this plays itself out. I think financially, this is probably a good move for them. Granted, they may not necessarily make that money back that they put towards making these films, but in the long term, in the long run, this will allow Warner Brothers and Disney to make a pretty significant profit. I feel like overall from just their streaming services going forward into the future. So while I think a lot of us thought that this was just a one-off, just a one experiment type of thing, I think maybe this, and I think they even say, maybe in the article or somewhere else I read that they only plan on doing this for 2021 until movie theaters wind up actually rebounding. But if this works out for them, maybe they don't. Who certainly knows? I don't think movie theaters are going away completely. I just don't know if they're going to be as prominent as we are so used to and accustomed to. And maybe this could be sort of that first step that really kind of solidifies the changing of the movie going experience as a whole. So this is a big move for Warner Brothers, to say the least. Certainly don't underestimate it. But I think it's a good one. I think for a lot of us who have been wanting to see these films, we can all at least breathe a sigh of relief that yes, we are getting them finally, and don't have to worry if they're going to be getting pushed back or delayed or anything like that. These movies are coming, and I'm completely here for it. So if you're not an HBO subscriber and you want to catch a lot of these movies, I highly recommend you go ahead and do so. And don't get me wrong, some of these movies I will be going to see in theaters, but it is nice to know that within its first 30 days, it will be available. So let me go ahead and throw this over to Stuart here real quick. Hey, man, you hear this news about Warner Brothers' big move to debut their entire 21 slate on HBO Max. What do you think about this move and its significance?
I'm not surprised by it. I'm just surprised about the way they announced it. You see, I think last week I even kind of mentioned, I feel like Warner Brothers has already kind of made up their mind about this whole thing, but I kind of assumed the way they would announce it would be like one film at a time, and then maybe slowly saying, okay, these next upcoming couple of films are going to be released to HBO Max as well. You know, it kind of felt like they were going to just kind of dip their toe in and then like just slowly start getting in, but nope, it was like they dipped their toe in with Wonder Woman and Godzilla, and then they just cannonballed right in. Best way to put it. Yeah, and I think, you know, personally, with how everything is, I think this is a better move for in the long run for Warner Brothers and for HBO Max, because I do feel like a lot of people are a little bit disappointed with how fast content continuously leaves the website. So I think that if they want to keep new subscribers, you know, this is a very smart way to do it. And I think with how many people are going to be subscribing, especially if they get like the year-long subscriptions, you know, for like $60, you know, that it's going to pay for, it's going to essentially like over time really cover the cost of all these movies throughout all those subscriptions. So I think financially it's going to hurt them at first majorly. They're going to take a major hit, but when they can get back up from that hit, they're going to be stronger than ever.
Yeah, they definitely will feel some sort of financial burden from this for sure. So I definitely agree with you there. Oh, what were you going to say?
They'll be like, since, you know, Indy and I are both wearing Dragon Ball Z stuff, I'll say this. They'll be like Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z. Once they get damaged and they recover from it, they'll be stronger than ever before.
Zenkai. They're looking for that Zenkai boost. Yeah, definitely. When it comes to this, it's interesting to me in the aspect that they're challenging this. We've seen this been done by Universal with Trolls War Tour. We've seen Disney do Mulan. And we saw the backlash from the setup that they wanted to do, like how Disney did the $30 per, you know what I'm saying, $30 per household who wanted to watch Mulan, and that they were releasing it to everybody in December. So this was months before it was available, you know what I'm saying, to anybody else. The thing that worries me is how far are these movies spaced out, because they can get you, it's smart and it's going to be rough at the same time, because they're not going to launch a movie in the same month. So they could literally keep you subscribed for the whole year, $14.99, in order to watch all of these, knowing that it's only going to be available for the first 31 days, right? So they can keep you locked in, keep coming back. The one thing that I think HBO has up on its competitors is that if you already had HBO through Comcast or AT&T, Uverse, DirecTV, whoever you use, you have HBO Max to use regardless. So this is, let's grab as many new subscribers as we can to try to alleviate us not being able to show, you know what I'm saying, the theaters being down in order to try to make more money. So I understand what they're doing, but man, you could end up spending a lot of money trying to watch all these movies at $15 a month. Rather than, but hey, if like Stuart said, if you grab it for the year price and you watch all of them and may pay for it, it's such a shaky decision to make when it comes to the climate we're in and the money that we're spending. And for me personally, for Disney just coming out and saying, look, $30 for this, I like the fine-tuned price. This for this long, then have it for free. The thing that shakes me on HBO is, yeah, you could pay for this now, but we never know how long it's going to be on HBO Max. And that's what scares me. I know Disney and how long Netflix even tells you when something's coming off. You might wake up on HBO the next day and be like, oh, I forgot to watch. Crap, it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely don't give you, like, they'll give you a heads up, like, hey, just so you know, it is leaving soon, but they never give you sort of like a release date. Like, there is a section on HBO Max that has like a just added and a leaving soon, and I love highlighting like both of those before I like even look at anything else. Those are like the first two sections I go to see like what's new and what's leaving. If there's anything else that I really want to try and watch before it does. So, I mean, it is a little bit annoying. Having movies leave, but I feel like for the most part they're on a pretty good timed return for the most part, so they definitely will be back up there. But yeah, trust me when I say I definitely will be taking full advantage of that first 30 days to see these movies, especially if I enjoy them. How much I certainly watching them countless times, to be honest with you. But I'm excited for this move. I am. I'm hoping that this means that maybe these streaming services will be able to create more original movies to be released just simply on their streaming service, and then maybe some of the big tentpole films still released out in movie theaters for big event type stuff maybe going forward after 2021. But we'll see what happens here. I think if HBO Max ends up being really successful with this new model of theirs, this may be how they decide to do their movie stuff going forward. Now, I don't know if that's going to be enough for movies to rebound, because I think long gone are the days, like, unless this vaccine comes in and we're all able to do what we certainly want to do, I almost feel like long gone are the days of like $750 million movies or $1 billion movies at the box office. That you're going to have to start being a little bit more strategic in what you do want to release out in movie theaters or straight to your streaming service. And again, not everybody has that benefit of doing that, but the big head honchos in Warner Brothers and Disney certainly do, because they don't have to worry about licensing fees and things like that, and they can just utilize their own properties and not have anything else undercut the profits that they're making. So you don't need a middleman anymore, it feels like, at this point in time. But I'm excited, man. I can't believe Warner Brothers pulled the trigger on this. Do you think that this is going to make Disney now make some significant changes as well? I know that there was some speculation that maybe Black Widow would be announced here pretty soon. Do you think that they would announce Black Widow to be released this format, or what do you think Disney will do in response to this? Because I feel like they're kind of going back and forth with some of their decisions. Like, let me see what you guys do first, and then we'll make our decision.
I think Disney is going to go in that direction. They're just probably going to be announcing it the way I thought HBO Max was going to be doing it, like one movie at a time for like the first couple of months, and then after that, that's when they finally announced, oh yeah, no, everything from that was going to be released in 2021 will now also be released on Disney Plus as well. But maybe I'm wrong, because I was wrong about the way HBO Max announced it. So, probably they'll just be like, you know what? HBO Max is going all out. We'll do it too. We'll just be like, hey, all of our movies are coming out 2021 as well.
And then all the movie theaters will their heads would explode. Like, no.
I don't. I really think Disney has the bigger slate of movies, hands down. They have the more anticipated movies. You know what I'm saying? That are coming out. I think they'll still wait. I think Disney is going to wait on what happens with theaters. I can even see Disney, to be honest with you, bailing out, you know what I'm saying, a theater chain or two, like, and making some type of deal, like, we'll bail you out of this problem, the situation you have, if this is you work with us doing this. That's what I see possibly Disney doing, because they have the pockets to be able, to do something like that. But the only movie we really talk about is Black Widow. I don't know if they dropped the price on what they have, because they spent significantly more money on, on Black Widow than what Warner Brothers spent on a Mortal Kombat, or something like that. It's very few movies that Warner Brothers has they got on this list that are being spent on Black Widow
Well, I mean, they
humans
got.
and stuff like that.
I'm sure Dune is probably a couple $100 million. Like, I feel like the Dune's production is super costly. What is the other one? Kong versus Godzilla.
I feel like Dune, even as a TV series, would have been that much. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was going to be like Game of Thrones type thing, they were going to spend that much on Dune. Kong, you know what I'm saying? You got the big names out there, but when you go through that slate, it doesn't have a slate like Disney has. You know what I'm saying? Coming through Doctor Strange. We ain't talked about these movies in so long, I can't even remember them all. just the slate of Marvel movies by themselves, because we've been waiting so long to see them. I don't forgot half the movies that are coming out. I don't know if Disney could survive just by just adding them to streaming because of the amount of money that they spent on the Marvel properties alone. So we had to see what happens, but what it is right now, it's a race for a subscriber base. It's subscribe to me instead of them. And to me right now, Disney is still winning with the lower price point for more than just Disney Plus. It's the Hulu and the ESPN added in for $12.99 a month, when just for HBO Max, you're paying $14.99.
Yeah, that is one of the complaints I have been hearing is people staying away just because of the high price point. But who knows? I mean, maybe it'll be worth it once you start seeing some of these movies and realizing, like, man, you mean for $15 a month, I can still catch all these films throughout the entire year? Like, yeah, count me in, sort of thing. But make no mistake, I wouldn't be surprised if once Disney starts adding more stuff to their library, I would not be surprised if they eventually bump up their price as well.
No, you know what's going to happen, Stuart? You get HBO Max. I got Disney Plus. Adam, you get Netflix.
And we just all share accounts.
Yeah, we all just share accounts.
That's what's as awesome as that would be. I already got that deal going on with a bunch of other people.
But you see what I'm saying? That's exactly what's going to happen. So to be honest with you, I feel like I don't want them to change their subscriber rules, because being able to share accounts at multiple subscribers is one of the reasons why we do it in the first place. But unless they nip that in the butt somehow, you know, or maybe it doesn't count for these big blockbuster movies. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that only accounts to the IP address that purchased, you know what I'm saying, the movie. They had to figure out some way around it in order to make a profit.
They are kicking the free trial out of the window, though. No more free trials, guys.
Facts.
Yeah, no more free trials. But yeah, guys, big things are happening for Warner Brothers. Big moves are taking place. The transition here for how we view movies continues to happen right before our eyes, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely, we'll definitely keep you posted in regards to this and see if Disney responds with anything of their own also going into 2021. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But listen, we want to know your A+ opinions. Is there any particular movies off this list that you're really fascinated to learn about? What do you think about this decision by Warner Brothers? Please go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap it up for all of our questions, for all of our topics today. Guys, I probably am going to cut this episode a little bit short. If anything, we probably will go through these live viewer questions real quick that we have on our email, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up here. So this comes to us, a couple questions from Jessica Friedman herself. She says, hey, Adam, are there plans for Ryan Wilder to join the Justice League? And with Black Lightning coming to an end, which I think is wrong, and Supergirl ending, who should take their places on the League? That's a great question, Jessica. I mean, who knows? Maybe John Diggle as Green Lantern will be taking up one of those places. Do I see Ryan Wilder planning on joining the Justice League? Probably. I don't know if it's as easy as a case of like, you know, Kate Kane is gone, but now that you're Batwoman, you're automatically a member. I don't know if you got to prove yourself first, you know, like you take down a big villain first, and then you can join us. I don't know how that's going to play out, but who do you think is going to replace some of these departing characters? Do you think Ryan Wilder or anybody else?
I personally think that we're not going to get much of a big crossover or big answer this season, but I do think people are going to get to know Ryan Wilder this season. And then I think next season, because it'll be like a 10-year anniversary thing since Arrow started, I think that'll be when we get like a big crossover event. And I think that's when we'll have, you know, the full on League. And I don't think anyone's going to be replacing either Black Lightning or Supergirl. I think they're still going to be there, even if their shows are gone. There's no reason the actors can't fly over to Vancouver to film just for the crossover, you know?
Good point. Good point. Yeah, they certainly could still have their presence felt. What do you think, Indy?
It's real easy for Superman to replace Supergirl. Like,
Good point.
My cousin.
Well, he's already a part of there, isn't he? I thought they had 2 soups, right?
Yeah, they don't need two.
They don't need 2
all
soups?
the time. Somebody can always be off. You know what I'm saying, like off world or anything that goes on with that. But as far as Black Lightning goes, I don't know if Painkiller has even earned the right to be able to, you know what I'm saying, sit in that seat. Anissa, maybe. You know what I'm saying? If they decide to add the character to her. But no, I think
that, Anissa. I do like
that.
Yeah,
I see Anissa taking that or some proxy from that show to give information. Keep somebody from that show around. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Gibney. Is that his name? Gibney?
Oh, the Gamby.
Gamby. I was close enough. Gamby. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Keep a proxy around from that show. But I do believe by the time we get back there, we'll see more characters. I mean, they hinted they hinted the monkey, the alien monkey, that, you know what I'm saying? By hinting him, you know, they hinted the Wonder Twins. Naomi has a connection to the Wonder Twins when it comes to when she, you know what I'm saying, she comes there because they're interning when she comes to when Superman takes her to the Hall of Justice or whatever. They're interns, and that's where that relationship builds. So it's a lot they could do. They could add anybody from the Legends of Tomorrow, because I do believe other people other than just Sarah deserve a seat, you know what I'm saying, at that table. And I really don't know, man. It's really hard to try to pick who will replace those 2 big names. But I feel like rather than just have a tit for tat replacement, that it will be multiple, you know what I'm saying, to make up for them losing, honestly, 2 of their strongest people.
I really do hope that they just continue to stick around, regardless of them having a series. I personally would prefer them to continue to keep their seats, sort of thing. But just like back in the day, especially when it comes to Justice League, you know, Justice League always kind of let people in and out, you know, just depending on who was available at that time, sort of thing, right? Like there's a ton of like 1980s and 90s comics of Justice League where they have a rotating league of members just because their membership is so huge, you know what I mean? So maybe that's something along the lines that we'll get also, you know, instead of having to necessarily say farewell to that of a Supergirl or a Black Lightning, maybe it's a case of maybe they won't be in every meeting or every crossover, but they'll pop up from time to time because they're still members. So we'll see what happens there, but we'll keep you posted when we find out anything else. And she also asks, is the new Wonder Girl series going to be a part of the Arrowverse? And would you like to see Dreamer get her own spinoff after Supergirl ends? Well, for the Dreamer, I'll let you guys answer the Wonder Girl series thing about being a part of the Arrowverse. For me, when it comes to Dreamer, I don't necessarily need her to have her own spin-off series. If they wanted to, you know, I've said this countless times on this show, if there is a spin-off series I want coming out of Supergirl, it's a Legends of Superheroes, or not Legends, a Legion of the Superheroes, or a Legionnaire show. But because I think you could really utilize something like that with Melissa Benoist as Supergirl, Chris Wood as Mon-El, bringing back Dreamer. You got Brainiac. You know, I mean, I feel like the pieces are there. So maybe not her own individual spinoff series, but a Legionnaire or Legion of Superheroes, I think, would be great. What do you guys think, though, in regards to the new Supergirl, the new Wonder Girl series? Do you think it's going to be a part of the Arrowverse?
I think Wonder Girl will be. I just think it'll be in the future. You know what I'm saying? Because she's already set to be a part of DC's future state. So I think that's something that would have tied in great with Green Arrow and the Canaries. You know what I'm saying? And another show that's set in the future. And maybe that's why there's still that lifeline that maybe Green Arrow and Canaries will still be around. Maybe it's that Wonder Girl is going to get, you know what I'm saying, established first, and then go back to the idea that once you make sure that this being in the future actually works.
Let's see here. How about you, Stuart? Any thoughts, or you agree? Did your mic get? There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I agree. I don't know about it taking place in the future, but I do think it'll be in the Arrowverse. I just, with her being a lot younger than most of the other Arrow casts, I don't see her interacting with them anywhere near as much as like the other people that interact with each other, you know?
I got you. Let's see here. This one comes. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, because like in the comics, I think she takes place in 2050. I think it is. It's too much time jumping around. I can't remember all this, but I do know that Green Arrow and the Canaries took place in 2040. So you know what I'm saying? It's something that could easily tie in if they're going to do it that way.
No, I agree. All right, and we got a last set of questions from AJ. When Arrow first premiered, what were your guys' thoughts? And at the time, how long did you think the show would last? Maybe I didn't think of how long the show would last when I watched the premiere, but I just remember getting into seasons 3 and 4 and thinking to myself, yeah, this show is ending at season 5. This shit is terrible. Or at least this just jumped off a cliff. Like I was just not the biggest fans of season 3 and 4. And I just honestly thought to myself, like, man, maybe it's only got a 5-year journey in it. You know, it was one of those things where, you know, they were trying to tell the story of, you know, Oliver's time on Leanne Yu, or his time away, at least, you know, and I think that was like a 5-year journey or 5-year period. And I figured, oh, maybe season 5 would wrap because they haven't done that great of a job with season 3 and season 4. So I didn't expect it to go 8 seasons, but I'm super thrilled that it definitely did. But I love the first episode. I thought it was bold and something completely new, and I absolutely love what they did with it.
I didn't watch Arrow until The Flash came out. In fact, when Arrow first premiered, I actually thought it was a spinoff of Smallville. I didn't realize it was like, you know, starting its own like universe type of thing. Yeah, because I mean, like, you know, the actor like Stephen Amell looked a lot like the dude who was playing him in Smallville, so that's kind of where my assumption came from. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think anything of it until The Flash, and then I watched I binged seasons 1 through 3 on Netflix, and then when season 4 premiered, I had like really high expectations for it, and then I was really disappointed.
When it comes to me, I think the only reason I'm a Green Arrow fan, and that's one of the reasons why I ended up watching the show. But I wasn't a huge I am now, but I was not a Stephen Amell fan because I remember him from Degrassi, and he was like one of the most hated characters on the show ever. So I wasn't a fan of his, but the douchiness and everything that's sent to him and playing the character and the whole, I think I fell in love with the actor playing the character more than the TV show, and that made me enjoy the TV show more because from him wrestling in AEW to wrestling in the WWE, like, and he started to do everywhere I was watching TV, he started to pop up and do it well. So I was like, I just grew more and more into the character. I do agree with you with season 4. I don't think it was as bad as you guys thought, but I always thought it would have. I always compared it to Supernatural, which Supernatural had some terrible seasons, like really bad. Like almost half of the seasons of Supernatural were bad, but it kept going. But I was looking at the ratings like, oh, this will stick around for a while. But I thought the 5th season would be the last season.
Of Arrow?
Of Arrow. I thought the 5th season would be the last season, and it was just a little engine that could. You know what I'm saying? Kept going a little bit more. So,
and yeah, we can only get 4 seasons of Black Lightning. So
I think the shows that spun off of Arrow helped keep it alive, because when they started doing the crossovers, the anticipation built for everything that was happening on all the shows. So without Arrow, you don't even have the crossovers, you know what I'm saying, succeed. And so I feel like they kept it around till they didn't need it anymore. And now the Flash is the show that, you know what I'm saying, in place of where Arrow used to be.
Until that show
we also got let's see here. We also got what are your favorite moments or episodes from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and any Will Smith or Martin Lawrence movie besides Bad Boys? Well, first off, I always loved Martin growing up as a kid. I used to love that show. One of my favorite lines from Martin all the time. Damn, 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 all the time. Absolutely love it. Damn it, Gina. But yeah, I do love me some Martin Lawrence. Will Smith. It's funny. I think we talked about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air last week on the show a little bit, but it always it always made me laugh just how much it holds up over time. Like it's still funny as hell when I go back and watch it to this day. I don't necessarily have an episode that jumps out at me. If there is one that actually kind of made me a little emotional, to be honest with you, I watched it with my girlfriend a few months back, but it was an episode where Will was like taking this type of meds or this I don't know if it was like caffeine pills or like some sort of pills he was taking. Like they were back in the day, they were definitely along the lines of like, you know, you're not supposed to take them sort of thing. And I think Will was going to get caught, but Carlton stuck up for him or something like that. And so they thought that Carlton was the one that had like the drugs on him or something like that. And then Carlton wind up getting all the blame and whatnot. And so Will eventually wind up confessing, but he had a really great, just emotional moment between Will and Uncle Phil and things like that at the end. And I just thought it was just really great episode, honestly, to pull at the heartstrings. But they had some great moments on that show. I want to go back and watch the reunion special, but I know it's going to bring me the tears. So I just haven't watched it, but it's a great show though.
Mine, I have to go with the most obvious one that I think everyone's going to predict. It's definitely the one where it was his dad coming in, and then of course, you know, leaving immediately after. So my little brother, you know, his parents are just complete waste of space, like his biological parents, not you know, my parents, but complete waste of space. And so like they'll do that a lot, you know. They'll come back in and it'll just mess up his head, and then they'll leave again. So, and you know, all the progress he's made of, you know, trying to clear his head and trying to, you know, clear his head mentally goes completely away, gets thrown out the trash every time they just like appear to be like, hey, what's up? Never mind, see ya. So, you know, that episode definitely has like the most emotional punch to me. But yeah, then, you know, when the show isn't being emotional, it's freaking hilarious. And it had still to this day one of my all-time favorite fourth wall breaking jokes when he mentions there not being a roof, and then the camera pans up and you see like, you know, that it's all being filmed in the studio. So a show, yeah, the way it balances comedy and like, you know, has those dramatic episodes every now and then, it does a great job of that.
Well said. For me, it's the episode where Will and them get arrested. Like Will and Carlton get arrested, and they're treating them different because of their ethnicity. And Uncle Phil has to come and get them out. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing. It was always the way they tackled real life for me on that show. Definitely. And just gave you little bits and pieces of social commentary. I always thought was real special because they kept it, they would get deep, but they would keep it lighthearted, almost like the news. You know what I'm saying? The news gonna give you all the terrible stuff, but then end with kitties getting adopted. You know what I'm saying? Just so you end on a lighthearted moment. That's one of the reasons I always appreciated that show. As far as movies go, which this is gonna sound weird, my favorite Martin Lawrence movie of all time, hands down, is Black Knight. I don't know why. I just love that movie.
I don't know if I've seen that one. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah, you gotta check it out. Black Knight is amazing. And my favorite Will Smith movie of all time is honestly is Hitch.
Yeah, it's a great film.
I can watch it all day, every day, whenever it comes on. It's just a great movie.
It is a great movie. That is one you can watch any particular time. I agree. You're muted again.
Yeah.
I was going to say my favorite Will Smith movie is definitely the first Men in Black movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That movie still holds up. And it's pretty awesome.
If you go back, he's so young in that movie. It's so funny to see him how young he was back then.
He does have some really great movies. I mean, even I, Robot was well written. You know what I'm saying? Well acted. That was actually a good one. It's not even the big blockbusters. You know what I'm saying? Some of his movies are the ones that fly under the radar. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. So yeah, no, definitely.
I definitely do have to. I'll definitely check out Black Knight too. But thank you for those questions, man. I know I didn't get to all your questions, AJ, but I do have to cut the stream a little bit short today. So if anything, we'll definitely make sure we get all your questions next week, AJ. But other than that, guys, I think that's probably going to do it for us here today. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining us here each and every weekend. We definitely appreciate it, guys. But we probably will go ahead and wrap up. We've been here for about 2 hours or so. I am going to have to tend to my dog here today, take her out to the vet real quick. But other than that, guys, listen, I hope everybody enjoys the weekend. But fellas, if people want to go ahead and reach out to you online, where can they find you at? Where can they find you, Stuart? You're muted again.
I keep doing that. I gotta just use the computer so that way I don't forget. That way it'll let me know if my mic is muted. Okay, you guys can follow me at TurboStew01. You guys can also check out my old YouTube channel, Turbo Studios, where I will probably be adding some content that I made recently for my classes, my editing class, my journalism class. I'll probably be adding some of that stuff onto the channel. I haven't decided yet, but I'm considering it currently.
Awesome. And Indy, where can they find you on social media, sir, if they want to reach out?
First and foremost, always at A+ Opinions, or right here on the YouTube channel Hero Report. You can always find me here every week. But personally, you can find me at Nerd Mix Alpha everywhere.
Awesome. Well, guys, it was great to have the band together today. I appreciate you tackling all of these amazing topics with us and giving some great perspectives and point of views, guys. So thank you so much for that. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we will in fact wrap up. If you want to follow us on social media, you can go ahead and do so right here at A+ Opinions. We are very active on our Twitter account. Check us out also on our main page over on Facebook, our hub, if you will. And we're also active on IG as well as Twitch also. In the meantime, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do us a big favor, hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification. So when we do drop brand new videos, you will certainly be notified. And of course, if you ever have a live viewer question that you certainly want to have submitted over to us, go ahead and do so at aplusopinions@gmail.com, and we'll certainly get to them towards the end of each and every episode. But other than that, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us here at A+ Hero Report. But until next week, we'll certainly see you then. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.